So there is widespread, across Britain at least, widespread support for renationalising rail, postal services, of maintaining public ownership of the NHS and many others. There's also new expressions of, new desires for new types of economic organisation, sort of local economic democracy, community projects, etc. In what way would the EU impinge on any of that?
Well, I think we run immediately into some of the more fundamental rules of the European Union to do with issues like state aid, which I'm sure we're going to hear about with regard to the British steel industry shortly after the referendum results are announced. And also issues to do with public procurement, local preference, the ability to start targeting our sort of public and community investment in the kinds of directions that might begin to build power, to build democracy, to create the sort of institutions of a new economy that really cut against the general direction that the EU regulations and treaties impose upon us, which is really one of open markets, competition, investor protections, inability to pursue industrial policy, which I think is going to be very important if we're going to have successful public and democratic ownership, and a whole range of issues that really are sort of not what the EU is designed to support and regulate.
We hear quite a lot about social Europe from the left. What exactly is it, and what should people understand it to mean in the context of this vote?
Well, I think social Europe is this great myth that the left is always chasing in the European context. They seek it here, they seek it there, they seek that social Europe everywhere. But it's really been rather difficult to pin down what exactly is meant by this. Certainly there have been some directives that have codified into European level law the struggles that have been won successfully at the national level. There's probably a fair amount of rollback of that going on at the moment if you look at restrictions that are being placed on the right to strike and so forth. And certainly when you look at governments like that of Greece that are being taken into sort of whole ownership by the Troika institutions, and there's not much of a social Europe evident to the Greeks. There was a genuine effort to pursue and create a social Europe that really resulted from, I think, the sort of sense of a generational settlement after the 1975 referendum, when the left thought they were going to win and Britain was going to exit. But when that didn't happen, a belief that they needed to roll up their sleeves and pursue a counterbalance to capital at the multinational level. It makes a lot of sense. There was a big attempt to do it under Delors, a number of prominent left-wing economists involved in that. It didn't work, it failed. And we've seen a much greater move to the right ever since, including some of the single market regulations that came about at the behest of Thatcher and others. And so social Europe now is the sort of dream that died. I'm not really seeing how we're going to be resurrecting this anytime soon when it's so difficult to do in a national context.